So, now we'll start with the review portion of the video. And I'll probably make into a separate video actually. So, at the front is our light. The light's okay, it just basically shines directly what's in front of the bike. It doesn't really show any surrounding, so there's not really much light bleed, unfortunately. So when you're riding on back roads, you have to be very careful with this bike, because it doesn't really give you that much confidence with how much light it gives off. Indicators and reflector, pretty decent enough. They're nice and angled out, and they're nice and bright as well. I'll show them in a second. Those are our back indicators as well, our rear indicators. They're nice and bright as well, and nice and wide for the bike. And so we also have our large light at the back, which helps. I do quite like the chrome on this bike. It's a bit of a pain to keep it shining. I'll show you places where the bike actually did begin to rust, which is the back of the chain guard, which is where I forgot to put some ACF 50 on this bike. Now, so got a nice look at track. I'll probably use this a handful of times, but it's just nice to know it's there. So if you ever have a bag on you, but there's something maybe too heavy, like I always like to put a chain, just wrap a chain around this, so I don't have to put it in a backpack and it doesn't tear the back off you. Start with the rear brake. Is there a linkage there? It's a rear drum brake. So the rear brake is decent enough for the bike. It's not that much weight, and you know, if you do put a lot of pressure down, it will skid out. So I always tend to use front brake, engine braking, and then rear brake on this bike. So rear brake is decent enough, even though it's a drum brake. It does a decent job for the type of bike it is, the weight, and the way the suspension is set up. So suspension wise, it's very squidgy. It doesn't take a lot to get the bike moving. It's decent, it's a very comfortable bike with the seat and the suspension at the back, but I wouldn't call it sporty by any means. It's okay in the corners, but like I said, the type of bike it is, the weight, the power, the type of person who's going to be riding it, it does a decent job going around the corners for a learner bike. It doesn't upset the bike, doesn't give you any unexpected kind of, doesn't throw any obstacles in the way is what I'm going to say. Like it gives you plenty of confidence in the corners, but you know, it's obviously just a basic suspension system, nothing special, but it does the job fine. Exhaust is pretty good for this bike, nice chrome exhaust. They also tend to rust here as well. Plenty of AC 50 on this as well. I have a little bit of a drainage there, so sometimes rust tends to gather here, even though there's a little bit of a drainage there. But other than that, I'd say the exhaust is pretty good. It's pretty loud for the type of bike it is, type of engine. Compared to other 125cc bikes, this is actually probably one of the good highlights about this bike, that has a nice exhaust already stock, so you don't really need to change it all that often. But on my old bike, it did begin to rust in this area here, so it'll probably rust through eventually, and it'll probably make the bike 10 times louder. Now, you have your little pulley there. You put your toolbox in there, and your batteries behind there as well. I forgot to mention that in the last video. Front brake, kind of like the rear brake, pretty decent enough for the type of bike it is, the weight and the way it's set up, but I wouldn't really be too confident squeezing this thing heavily. Like emergency braking on this bike, it's kind of sketchy. It's decent enough, it handles well, the front brake, but you know, you just don't be a tool on this bike, because you probably will get whacked at the end of the day. because it is only very basic setup for the front brake. The front shocks, it's kind of like the rear, nice and comfortable again. There's not too much vibration or strain on the hands. It's decent enough in the corners for the speeds and the weight. I actually like this a lot about the bike. Engine's decent enough. It revs up to, I'd say the limit you want to rev it to is about 9,000, but this bike is very happy around 4.5 to 7.5. Anything below or under or over that, it's kind of straining the bike, and you probably have to change down gear or change up a gear, or just ease off the throttle a bit, as to not, you know, just put wear and tear on the bike, unnecessary wear and tear on the bike. Carburetor, simple enough to work on. Have your choke. Fueling on this bike is actually pretty good. It's pretty easy. On my last bike, it was I think it was running a bit rich and it was kind of lumpy on the throttle. But once they get up to temperature, it runs very smooth. I had no cutouts on this bike, no stalls, no nothing. It's very easy to ride. Tires on this bike, like I said in the last video, are kind of mediocre. They're nylon tires, so they last for almost probably, you know, twice as much as normal rubber. But they are they're like glass sometimes. You have to get plenty of heat into them, and in the rain, I'd kind of be going dead slow on this yoke, as if the tires were bald, kind of. So let's start the bike up. So when I start this bike up, in the ignition, turn it on, make sure the green light's on, it means this is neutral. This is our high beam. So your high beam. Indicators again. So I put on the right indicator there. Don't know if it'll come up on video, but it's decently bright. You can see it moving. And on the rear as well. And our brake light as well. Nice and bright. Other indicator as well. Even on bright days, it's decent enough to see. We've got our high beam as well. Can't really see it in the sun. You can see it kind of. Now, so when starting this bike, pull the choke all the way out. Put this down to the normal rider position, which is down. And then open the throttle a small bit. Make sure this is down, or kill switch is down. And then start the bike. Yeah, it's about 4,000. Pull it back in. And then kind of, what I do is I kind of just flick the throttle for a while till it gets warm. But it shouldn't cut out. But it runs pretty smooth. There's our horn. And I'll rev the bike for you now. So that's been my review of the Suzuki GN125. Very good learner bike, very good starter bike, perfect. There's nothing I'd change on this bike for my style of riding. I love the centre stand, love the exhaust, love the way it looks, and it's very easy to maintain. Thanks for watching.